Thank you. At this time, we will call to order the Finance Committee meeting for February the 14th, 2019. Before we get into our agenda items, we have special acknowledgments at this time that will be led by our mayor at this time.
Okay. Derek Callahan, if you would have joined us up here in the front, and then if council and staff would join me down in the front, we'll recognize him. Oh, my goodness. City Muskogee Employee of the Month for February 2019 is Derek Callahan. Derek began working for the City of Muskogee in August 2004 as a plant operator 1 in the Pollution Control Division. Derek has had various positions, making his way up through pollution control to plant chief operator. Derek likes to figure out the everyday problems at the plant, like how to keep everything running that might be broke. In his free time, Derek likes to spend time with his family. He likes to hunt and fish. Now, this is the part that's kind of tough, but he ain't going to give up any of that information about his hunting and fishing secrets, but he does venture out into Oklahoma's wilderness during those expeditions. Derek was nominated for demonstrating proficiency in his assigned duties and working his way up to chief operator of the pollution control plant. He has a pleasant disposition and makes it very likable among his peers and seniors alike. Congratulations, Derek, on being our Employee of the Month. Thank you.
Hopefully one of these works. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Appreciate it.
You are.
I am not old.
Yeah.
Regular agenda item number 1, please.
Consider approval of Finance Committee minutes of January the 22nd, 2019.
After reviewing of the minutes, are there any corrections or additions?
Move for approval.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to approve the minutes. Discussion. Roll call, please.
Deputy Mayor Janie Boydston.
Yes.
Patrick Cale.
Yes.
Marlon Coleman.
Yes.
Wayne Johnson.
Yes.
Ivory Van.
Yes.
Derek Reed.
Yes.
Dan Hall.
Yes.
Jamie Stout.
Yes.
Mayor Coburn.
Yes.
Item number 1 passed. Item number 2.
Consider approval of claims for all city departments January the 16th, 2019 through January 30th, 2019.
Do we have a report from the Purchasing Committee?
Purchasing Committee did meet this afternoon. We did have a couple of questions, and staff did provide those answers, and we did find everything in order. I would recommend approval.
We have a second.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to approve the claims. Discussion. Roll call, please.
Deputy Mayor Janie Boydston.
Yes.
Patrick Cale.
Yes.
Marlon Coleman.
Yes.
Wayne Johnson.
Yes.
Ivory Van.
Yes.
Derek Reed.
Yes.
Dan Hall.
Yes.
Jamie Stout.
Yes.
Mayor Coburn.
Yes.
Item number 2 passed. Item number 3, please.
Consider approval to authorize submission of letters of intent to the City of Muskogee Foundation for fiscal year 1920 grant cycle for city projects as follows: 5-year funding for continuation of police body-worn cameras or take other necessary action.
Waiting on Chief Teehee at this time.
Chairman, committee, thank you. This is for $399,000 and some change. It's for the renewal of our body cameras. I don't know how much you all have dealings with them. I know City Attorney Tucker has, as well as Mr. Miller. Just in the time that I've been here since July, There's been a number of times where we've had people that's called down and complained about their kids getting roughed up or being talked bad to, or just things that weren't proper in their mind. And a lot of those complaints, just the mere mentioning that we have body cameras and we can review those, I checked with Deputy Chief Cotton this morning to find out a number of how many of those complaints actually go away before they're ever filed. And we don't have a number on that, but we're going to start tracking that because the number is quite high. The body cameras are the reason behind that. In my opinion, this is one of the number one things that law enforcement in today's society must have. The foundation had paid for that the last cycle. It was a 5-year process, and we're requesting that we be allowed to send a letter of intent for the next 5-year cycle for new body cameras and the storage. The storage is what's the main expense to those. A lot of the recent articles that come out in police magazines are that a lot of your smaller agencies are having to give up the body cameras because of the cost of storage, and that's a shame because they are a huge asset to the police and the community. When we first had it, there was obviously a little bit of resistance, but it's one of those things that I think our officers support as much as what our community does it now, and so I would be happy to answer any questions and recommend approval.
What I'd say, Chief T, here is that what I appreciate most about the services that they provide is the department's transparency and willingness to be transparent every time there is an incident, because I think what it does is still say to other communities in Oklahoma and abroad that a lot of the ways we handle incidents with transparency still makes us a model across the city. And so certainly we appreciate all that in the past. I move for approval.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to approve item number 3. Any discussion?
I'm always appreciative of Muskogee Foundation, but this is one that I really appreciate them early on funding this project that allowed us to get them before a lot of other agencies were able to, and I hope they will continue to fund this project.
I agree with that. And we've been the beneficiary of being able to review some of those incidents, and very appreciative that we've been able to review and view some of those incidents. All of us up here have seen how they work.
The process, when didn't even have a policy in place when the shooting on 24th Street came about. And had it not been for the body cameras and what that broke down, I know several of you all was here when that happened, it would have been an issue. But the fact that we had those in place, even though we didn't have a policy yet, was huge for our city. In a time nationwide was a lot of unrest. And the model that Reverend Coleman talked about is exactly what they're teaching across the country, and they call it the Muskogee model, and that's something that we're very proud of. Thank you.
Further discussion?
I move for approval.
Second.
I think we already have it.
I do.
All right. Roll call, please.
Patrick Hale.
Yes.
Marlon Coleman.
Yes.
Wayne Johnson. Ivory Van.
Yes.
Derek Reed.
Yes.
Dan Hall.
Yes.
Jamie Stout.
Yes.
Mayor Coburn.
Yes.
Item number 3 passed. Item number 4, please.
Consider approval of City Council support for submission of letters of intent to the City of Muskogee Foundation for the fiscal year 1920 grant cycle for projects to be submitted by nonprofits for the benefit of the city. $85,000 Muskogee Media Institute, $101,000 Civil Air Patrol Building Rehabilitation, $110,000 Founders Place Historical District 12th Street Beautification, $225,000 Connor State College 3-year Criminal Justice Police Science Excellence Initiative, or take other necessary action.
Mr. Garvan.
Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, Mr. Miller is sick today, so I'm filling in for him. The City of Muskogee received a request for support from 4 nonprofits. This is for their letters of intent that they'll be submitting to the City of Muskogee Foundation in this upcoming grant cycle. The first one is Muskogee Media Institute. They're requesting $85,000. It's to train students through a state-authorized 12-month program. The program will highlight local businesses, provide hands-on job experience through paid summer internships with local businesses. They'll use local resources that's available through the Muskogee High School, and they will work with staff to identify programs and activities that the public needs to be more aware about. The second one is the Civil Air Patrol. The Civil Air Patrol is an active organization that trains youth. They also provide aid in community disaster situations. They're requesting a $101,000 grant, and it's for the rehabilitation of a 4,000 square foot building at Muskogee Davis Regional Airport. Currently, the building they're in had to be vacated because of the conditions, so they're using the airport conference room. The conference room is not big enough to provide the training that they provide to the youth or for their equipment needs. The third one is the Founders Place Historic Grant. They're requesting $110,000. This is for the beautification of 12th Street. This grant will help to address issues with sidewalks and lighting along 12th Street. I think it's between Court and Martin Luther King. The last one is the Connors Criminal Justice Initiative. That grant is for $225,000. It'll develop a new academic program at Connors State College that connects Muskogee residents with affordable education opportunities. It will also address the need of the Muskogee Police Department and other local law enforcement agencies. Connors will work directly with the Muskogee Police Department to help develop a program that meets their educational and technical needs. This program should increase the number of qualified applicants that the police department can use, plus it will decrease the training and recruiting expenses. All these, with the exceptions of the Founders Place, has had council support previously. I'd recommend approval. I think there's representatives from everyone except for the Media Institute if you have any questions.
I just need clarity on what is the Media Institute.
It's my understanding it's basically a program that provides training and education. It sends out social media, video, web production, and it's to help get things that Muskogee citizens need to be aware of, different programs, just good things that's happening in Muskogee, what Muskogee's doing, just to get the word out so everyone will know what's going on.
Does that run parallel to what we're trying to do in terms of having our public relations effort?
It will run parallel with it.
Okay.
Yes.
Is there some youth involvement in this?
Yes, it's my understanding. And again, I'm not up to date on this, and I wish the representative was here, but it's my understanding they'll be working with the Muskogee high schools on this program with students. And they'll have internships, summer internships on, I guess, the putting together the web production and the videos. And
That makes it an important component for myself.
Mm-hmm.
Move for approval.
Well, I'm kind of excited about bringing the criminal justice program back. For years, it was across the nation. It was probably recognized for the program that Connors put out, and I'm a part of that. Not that I'm bragging or anything, but it was a great program when they had it, and I'm glad to see them bringing it back because we're needing to hire some officers, and it'd be a good program for them to go through, and I learned a lot of stuff there. Second your motion.
I have a motion and a second to approve this item. Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Deputy Mayor Janie Boydston.
Yes.
Patrick Kale.
Yes.
Marlon Coleman.
Yes.
Wayne Johnson.
Yes.
Ivory Van.
Yes.
Derek Reed.
Yes.
Dan Hall.
Yes.
Jamie Stout.
Yes.
Mayor Coburn.
Yes.
Item number 4 passed. Item number 5, please.
Consider approval of a grant application to the Oklahoma Recreation Trail Fund in the amount of $240,000 for an extension of the Centennial Trail from 3rd Street to Main Street as part of the Depot Green Project, or take other necessary action.
Mr. Wilkerson.
Mr. Chairman and committee members, this is a grant that we are resubmitting to the State Department of Tourism and Recreation. It is the annual Recreation Trails Fund program. The $240,000 grant is the maximum that they allow for grant applicants. When I say this is a resubmission, we submitted this grant this time last year, and it's for the Depot Green Project. The good news is, with regards to that trail and that project, the foundation has awarded us the funding for this. This will add additional funds for this project if we were to get it, and to make it a little bit more aware of what we intend to do with the additional money. There's a master plan. This is basically called a phase 1. One portion of it that was left out because of the lack of funding was a restroom. So with the additional funding from the state, we plan to build the restroom that was designed in the original scope of work. In addition to that timeline, we hope to, we will not receive word until sometime spring, early summer, and at that time we hope to be ready to go out to bid. We were funded over 2 years, and so we've been waiting until we get our funding in place from the foundation. So I just thought I'd throw that FYI in for you in case you were wondering. Be happy to answer any questions.
Move for approval.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to approve item number 5. Questions? Roll call, please.
Deputy Mayor Jenny Boydston.
Yes.
Patrick Kell.
Yes.
Marlon Coleman.
Yes.
Wayne Johnson.
Yes.
Ivory Van.
Yes.
Derek Reed.
Yes.
Dan Hall.
Yes.
Jamie Stout.
Yes.
Mayor Coburn.
Yes.
Item number 5 passed. Item number 6, please.
Consider approval of a state contract purchase from John Vance Fleet Services for one 2018 Dodge Ram 3500 Crew Cab 4-wheel drive diesel pickup truck in the amount of $41,193 for the water treatment plant, or take other necessary action.
Mr. Swepson?
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. This is a budget item. This is for the water treatment plant. This will allow us to update the fleet and get rid of a vehicle that's over 30 years old. Pretty straightforward. It is a state contract purchase. As mentioned before, it is budgeted in this year's fiscal budget. We recommend approval in the amount of $41,193. Be happy to answer any questions.
Move for approval.
Second.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to approve item number 6. Any further discussion?
Mr. Chairman, Mr. Swepson, is there a reason we're doing a 2018 instead of a 2019 vehicle? I just don't know any better.
Very good question, sir. There is. It is a carryover from last year. Availability is very scarce right now, so this is a vehicle that they do have available on their lot.
Okay.
Will provide us about a 6-month reduction in lead time on getting that vehicle. It is a brand new vehicle, so the warranty and everything is the same. It will start as the date of sale. Just
Okay.
be 1 year older and save us about $5,000.
Thank you.
Were you looking for a Dodge, or did you just put it out for Chevrolet, Ford, or Dodge, whichever one?
This was the cheapest one, and we particularly liked since it is a 4-wheel drive diesel, the Cummins diesel engine has a much better reputation, and the Power Stroke or the Duramax. So we lean heavily towards that.
I can't believe you said that.
It's all in a matter of opinion, maybe, but can't be disputed that it's not a good engine.
Okay. Thank you.
Roll call, please.
Deputy Mayor Jenny Boydston.
Yes.
Patrick Kell.
Yes.
Marlon Coleman.
Yes.
Wayne Johnson.
Yes.
Ivory Van.
Yes.
Derek Reed.
Yes.
Dan Hall. Jamie Stout.
Yes.
Mayor Coburn.
Yes.
Item number 6 passed. Item number 7, please.
Consider approval of a state contract purchase from John Vance Fleet Services for one 2018 Dodge Ram 3500 cab and chassis 4-wheel drive pickup truck in the amount of $27,969.75 for water distribution, or take other necessary action.
Swepson?
Very similar item. Being the 2018, it is a carryover. Will be a reduction in lead time, carry the same warranty, start at date of sale. Will be for the water distribution department. We'll upgrade that fleet, update it, replacing a 2003 model truck with 130+ thousand miles. Recommend approval in the amount of $27,969.75. Happy to answer any questions.
Are the trucks they're replacing, are they four-wheel drive as well?
They, part of them are not. The first one was not, but we're starting to get more and more of the 4-wheel drive trucks, that something that we've not had in the past.
Okay.
Move for approval.
Mr. Chairman, may I be recognized?
Yes.
Where are you purchasing these trucks at?
These will be coming from John Vance Fleet, be off of the state contract pricing.
Where's John Vance Fleet?
They're based out of Guthrie, Oklahoma.
Couldn't find none here in Muskogee.
We have worked with the local Dodge dealer here, and they unfortunately just don't show a great interest in trying to be that competitive. The state contract pricing is very, very competitive, so it's, for lack of a better term, very cutthroat. And in my opinion, they just don't want to work on that tight of margins. They don't provide pricing when we ask for it. They've just told me that it's just too tight of margins for them to work off of.
I know we always trying to buy stuff here in Muskogee, you know.
Absolutely.
Do a little bit. Actually, you know, hey, got to do what we got to do. I'll turn the floor back over to you, Mr. Chairman.
All right. Any
I'd
other?
like to echo your statement there because I've tried to buy trucks here in Muskogee before, and they don't do the state bid pricing. They won't honor that, so you have to go to whatever vendor has that state bid process for them. I tried to see if they meet it, and they just said they won't do it here. So I ended up having to go into Tulsa to get my truck for my job. So
Did they give you a particular reason why?
just
don't honor
they don't do it.
Just too tight of margins.
Yeah.
It's not
Yeah.
worth it.
When I worked for the government, GSA contracting was the same way. I mean, it just was impossible to compete, and they're able to offer their prices because of volume. And when you've got smaller municipalities, it's kind of hard to just say, we'll just do another option, especially when you're trying to replace a fleet like you are.
Yes, sir.
But we do appreciate you reaching out every time to local businesses to see if they're interested in participating.
Absolutely. Wish it wasn't such a cutthroat market, but that's what it is, unfortunately. And it is taxpayers' dollars, so we have to be good stewards of those dollars as well.
Thank you.
Roll call, please.
I need a second.
Did I get a second?
Second.
All righty. Roll call.
Deputy Mayor Janie Boydston?
Yes.
Patrick Kale?
Yes.
Marlon Coleman?
Yes.
Wayne Johnson?
Yes.
Ivory Van?
Yes.
Derek Reed?
Yes.
Dan Hall?
Yes.
Jamie Stout?
Yes.
Mayor Coburn?
Yes.
Item number 7 passed. Item number 8, please.
Consider approval for matching grant funds for the Roxy Theater Community Trust totaling $3,185 or take other necessary action.
Mr. Garvin?
This is a budgeted item within this year's budget. The Roxy Theater Community Trust is requesting a match for their fundraising efforts in the amount of $3,185. Recommend approval.
Move for approval.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to approve this item. Discussion? Roll call, please.
Deputy Mayor Janie Boydston?
Yes.
Patrick Kale?
Yes.
Marlon Coleman?
Yes.
Wayne Johnson?
Yes.
Ivory Van?
Yes.
Derek Reed?
Yes.
Dan Hall?
Yes.
Jamie Stout?
Yes.
Mayor Coburn?
Yes.
Item number 8 did pass, and that is the final item for our Finance Committee.
We'll now call to order the Public Works Committee for February the 4th, 2019. Item number 1.
Consider approval of Public Works Committee minutes of January the 22nd, 2019.
Everybody's had time to review. Any questions?
Move for approval.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Roll call.
Deputy Mayor Janie Boydston?
Yes.
Patrick Kale?
Yes.
Marlon Coleman?
Yes.
Wayne Johnson?
Yes.
Ivory Van?
Yes.
Derek Reed?
Yes.
Dan Hall?
Yes.
Jamie Stout?
Yes.
Mayor Coburn?
Yes.
Item number 1 passes. Item number 2.
Hold a public hearing and take action on the approval of ordinance 4065A, rezoning the property located at 222 South 32nd Street, more particularly described in the ordinance from C1 Local Commercial to C2 General Commercial, and if approved, authorize staff to revise the official zoning map of the city to reflect said change or take other necessary action.
We will now open a public hearing on item number 2. Ms. Callahan.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, committee members. This is a request for a rezoning from to Wynn, and they are requesting to rezone the property located at 222 South 32nd Street. The request is to rezone from the C1 Local Commercial District to the C2 General Commercial District. And the applicant is requesting to rezone the property to the C2 General Commercial classification to allow for more options to lease the building. They're not open to sell it. They would just like to have more options for anyone that was wanting to lease the property. The current existing zoning and the land use on the rezoning request is the site itself is C1, and it is a vacant commercial building. They have said it's been vacant for over a year. It's been difficult to lease to different entities. To the north is the C3 American Motel. To the south is zone C1, and it is the Little Caesars. To the east, directly behind the building, is zoned R1, single-family dwelling. And to the west, which is across Highway 69, is zoned C1, Oki's Restaurant. And while just directly surrounding these properties are mostly the C1, and then there is the residential behind, all along the 69 corridor, there's several properties, and the majority of them are zoned the C2 or the C3. what we determined with 32nd Street and also Highway 69 is a commercial area, and the access to this property can only be obtained from 32nd Street. The comprehensive plan land use map indicates general commercial along this corridor, and therefore the request to rezone this to the C2 general commercial district does comply with the land use map. Staff and Planning Commission recommend approval. The applicant is here with her representation, and we're open to answer any questions.
Any questions from council?
I have a couple of questions. One, what will the difference in zoning actually allow the applicant to be able to do?
There are more options available under the C2, but there would be higher under the C3, so they're staying with the lower density use of the C2. For instance, the Little Caesars, had it been built after we had adopted our new zoning regulations in 2014, it would have been required to be a C2. A drive-through requires a C2 zoning classification. The C1 is mostly what we try to keep for offices and just general, just small business operations, whereas retail and higher traffic areas would be the C2.
And are we allowed to ask what those options might be? In other words, what is the applicant considering?
Right now, we were told that they were looking to try to lease it to entities that wanted to put in a medical marijuana dispensary, and that would require the C2.
Okay.
And then if that fell through, or they chose to stop the lease, or their business went under, then you still have the options of the building being zoned or that property being zoned at the C2 for future development.
Okay. And then the last thing, Mr. Chairman, I know that there were some others who might have appreciated being able to sign up but didn't. So I'm not certain if we could just move with no action until Monday to give them the proper and adequate time that they need. Or do we need to actually take the vote tonight?
No, we could, if that was if we wanted to table it, we could table it to the next meeting.
Is there a reason that we may think that it wouldn't
Not
pass?
appropriate.
Oh, I'm not certain if it would pass or not. I just wanted to give the others who had an opportunity, who didn't have the opportunity to speak to.
They'll be able to, we'll have to have it open again next Monday, so they'll be able to speak then too.
Mm-hmm.
I think.
Are you saying move it without recommendation?
Without recommendation.
Which would be different than tabling it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, if you tabled it, it would be tabled to the next committee.
Yeah,
But we're recommending, or what I understand,
Move it without
Councilman Johnson.
recommendation.
Right,
Yeah, without
to move
recommendation.
forward.
I was just going to say, either way, we're going to have to have it again, another hearing anyway. So if we wanted to vote on it tonight, then it would just be a vote anyway. So, I mean, it wouldn't make a difference. We're still going to hear it next week, and they're going to have a chance to talk on it. I don't know. One egg in one basket, one in the other. It don't matter.
Like we could suspend the rules and let the gentleman speak tonight.
That wouldn't be my.
No,
No.
I wouldn't recommend that.
Okay.
That'd be up to the chairman.
The question is,
If
though,
moving it forward kind of solves it, the same body, same vote, we'll just move it forward and take it up.
without
Is that right, Roy?
recommendation.
Yeah. And Mr. Chairman, the other thing, we still are in a public hearing, so if we're going to move to discussion amongst the council,
Need to
I'd
close
suggest closing the public hearing.
Okay, we'll go ahead and close the public hearing at this time. Okay.
And I'll just put it out, moved for approval. Just to move it forward. It's
So
going to
you-
come up again.
So your motion is to move it forward without recommendation?
No, for it to pass, for us to vote on it, yes.
Okay, so your motion is to approve it?
Yes.
Okay.
I'll make a motion. I'll second your motion.
Okay. So I got a motion and a second to approve it as a classification Zone 2, C2. Any other discussion? Roll call.
Deputy Mayor Jenny Boydston,
Yes.
Patrick Kale,
Yes?
Marlon Coleman,
No.
Wayne Johnson,
Yes.
Ivory Van,
No.
Derek Reed,
No.
Dan Hall,
Yes.
Jamie Stout,
Yes.
Mayor Coburn.
Yes.
Passed.
tablet back on. Item number 2 passes. Item number 3.
Consider approval of the appointment of James Gully to the Urban Renewal Authority, replacing Jim Wilson, Ward 2, to serve a 3-year term beginning on February 11th, 2019, and ending on August 31st, 2022, or take other necessary action.
Counselor Stout.
Okay. I've been kind of visiting with James to get back involved, and so he's agreed to take this appointment on the Urban Development Board, so I'm excited about that. So I move for approval.
Second.
It's got a motion and a second. Any discussion?
James Gully is our former deputy mayor.
Yeah. Do a great job.
Good guy.
I'm surprised you talked him into it.
It took a lot. No.
I'm surprised he hasn't done anything before now.
James, hard to say no to. Roll call.
Deputy Mayor Janie Boydston?
Yes.
Patrick Kale?
Yes.
Marlon Coleman?
Yes.
Wayne Johnson?
Yes.
Ivory Van?
Yes.
Derek Reed?
Yes.
Dan Hall?
Yes.
Jamie Stout?
Yes.
Mayor Coburn?
Yes.
Item number 3 passes. Item number 4.
Discussion and possible approval of a proposal to change the day and/or time of city council committee meetings or take other necessary action.
Mayor Coburn.
I would like for us to consider, when we move to all Monday meetings at 5:30, I was totally in favor of that, but what I've recognized since we have done that is my attendance is less than it was prior. So what I'm asking is that we would consider leaving the time at 5:30, but have the committee meetings on Tuesdays and have the council meetings on Mondays. That way you're not tied up every Monday night. So if you're out of town for an extended period over a weekend, you're guaranteed to miss one of the 2 meetings if they're all on Monday. And I think it would improve our attendance of all of us if we had those alternating between Mondays and Tuesdays. I probably have made that sound kind of confusing, but really it's not. What I'm saying is, let's do council meetings on Monday nights. Let's do Public Works and Finance on Tuesday nights, so at least it alternates. And if you choose to be out of town over a weekend into Monday, then you're not always going to miss a meeting. You can schedule it around the times that Public Works and Finance are on Tuesdays. It would also be helpful to our staff as well with the same considerations. I have talked to 2 or 3 of you about it, maybe 4 about it, and so I asked to have this put on the agenda for discussion.
Is it possible we could flip-flop them as far as have council meetings on Tuesday? And what my thought is on that is the school board meetings are on Tuesday, usually on the 2nd or 3rd Tuesday, and typically city council meetings are shorter than the Public Works, because there's more discussion at Public Works and Finance, and they're at 6 o'clock, and usually we could get out of here and still make it to school board.
Wouldn't make me any difference either way, which one we put on Tuesday. Yeah.
And it's just, it would be somewhat of a conflict, and I don't know, and I don't think we should ever take action on anything that sets it up for current council sitting on the board, because it changes. But I do believe for council in the future also, the less conflict we can have with existing meetings that are going on in our community, it would be better. Because I do think the times, because typically our council meetings are shorter than our Public Works and Finance meetings, because that's where most of our discussion is.
So Public Works and Finance on Monday, council's on Tuesdays.
I just want to propose that.
I think I like that idea.
Because typically our council meetings are shorter than Public Works and Finance, because we have more discussion on them.
I'm going to suggest that if Mondays are a problem, I think we need to just meet on Tuesdays. I think the alternating days for some of us at least, once we commit to a Monday, that's pretty much our week. But if Monday's a problem, then let's just do everything on Tuesdays. And I think that's less confusing for.
I guess the point that I was trying to make though, it's like where we are now on Mondays. Every Monday night, 52 weeks out of the year, basically, you're busy. That seems like it would be less, it seems to me like it's going to create an attendance problem. Where if we had half of those meetings on Tuesdays, half of them on Mondays, I think it's going to improve attendance. So if we do all Mondays or all Tuesdays, I think it's going to create an issue, maybe less on Tuesday than it would if it was all Mondays.
So do we need to do away with the Public Works part of it and just do city council again like they used to in the old days? I mean, and have them come in and read our packets and just be here for a longer period of time on one night? Would that work? I mean, I don't know. I mean, when I got here, it was a Monday, Tuesday night thing. And then I'm going to be honest with y'all. Y'all don't hear this out there. I kind of got them mixed up sometimes and be here on Monday night, and I was supposed to be here on Tuesday night, and I was supposed to be here on Tuesday night. I was here on. It kind of, with everything else going on, it kind of got a little bit confusing sometimes, and I had to call Gary or someone. Gary goes, "No, you're not supposed to be here tonight." I'm like, "Okay." The only problem with that is if we're going to switch it to a Monday, Tuesday, I won't be here any Tuesdays because starting, especially in the fall, because I'm getting ready to start doing 8th grade football this year. Not everybody knows that, so don't tell anybody. I know we're on TV. But I want to do 8th grade football, and I won't be able to be here on Tuesday nights. So it kind of messes me up completely.
So if it changes anything other than Monday nights, you're out.
Yeah.
To Tuesday.
Yeah. If it goes Tuesday night, I won't be here for in the fall. I'll miss more than my 20% that you're allowed to miss or whatever.
3.
Or,
But that's not committee, that's only council.
yeah. So I'll miss 3 committee meetings probably real quick.
But it isn't going to affect you on council.
Yeah, it will. If the council goes to Tuesday nights, it will.
Oh, okay. So Monday.
Yeah, it has to be
alternating Tuesday would be
yeah, it'd have to be city council has to stay on Tuesday nights for it won't affect me. I mean on Monday nights, sorry. So it doesn't affect me.
I think what we might do is when we get an opportunity to kind of all give our input on this and see what we might work out and make a proposal. I personally am perfectly okay. As a matter of fact, what you're proposing, I believe, is a good idea. Thinking about staff more than anybody, not thinking about myself, that it would be helpful to me as well. I don't have a problem with the council meetings on Tuesday night. So for me, I'm easy, but a lot of us have other obligations. So I think maybe we might just kind of pull back. Let's kind of see if we can't come to some agreement, and then whether we do or not, we'll have a vote on any changes and just move forward. But I think this is a good time to bring it up, but maybe we can kind of behind the scenes see if we can't see what everybody's needs are instead of everybody sharing them tonight, and we'll just move forward with the vote.
Thinking we don't have another format where we all are in the same room at the same time is the reason I asked to go ahead and put it on the agenda. Because we talked about it at council lunches a couple of times, and that sort of gets everybody, but I thought if all of us could have that discussion. I had no idea Dan would be affected, for example.
As long as the city council's on a Monday night and the Public Works is on the Tuesday night, I'm good. Because if I can't be here for a Public Works, then it doesn't count against me, but city council will.
But
So-
Mr. Johnson,
Which is what
you
I
do
was
have meetings.
proposing.
I think we would, that could still work. I mean, we just have to do it that way.
That could work with you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just worried about not getting mixed up.
It happens, trust me.
We'll call you.
Mr. Chairman, may I be recognized?
Yeah.
Well, with me, I consider it a problem. We've been doing this a year and something, and I come just about, only time I hadn't come to the Public Works meetings or city council is when I had surgery. The rest of the time, I'm here. And I'm pretty sure that you keep a record of who comes and who don't come. And I look around and I can't see that much missing. To me, I feel like this here is like helping somebody that want to go on vacation for 3 days and have that Monday. That's just how I feel about it. Because like I said, that affects me as like on Tuesdays, like tomorrow, I got to go to an event in my ward. They have it on Tuesdays every once a month. Plus other things I go to with the school that's on Tuesdays. So that when you thinking about doing things like this, you got to look at everybody, how it affects them, and not just the one particular person, not the one particular person that want to go have a nice 3-day weekend. That's how I feel about it. But
I think anytime we talk about moving schedules, we're talking about 9 people sitting here, and we're also talking about all the staff that's going to be affected. So anytime you start moving a calendar date, we're talking about affecting one. But, you know, initially when we talked, and I brought it up as far as moving the times, and that would have been about 2 years ago, I think?
Yes.
Probably 2 years ago when I moved the times. And the goal for moving the times is where I felt like the working man could run for city council, and he wouldn't have to take away from the job. And then I believe it was Mr. Coleman said, well, what about moving the late time earlier? And that's when we came to 5:30. And I don't think there's been anybody concerned about the time. And then the question was, well, what if we just moved it all to one day? And I think it's worked pretty well, but there has been some concerns about, well, now it's every Monday, and it does affect staff that they can't have a 3-day weekend, and it does affect, because they're going to have to come back, you know, because sometimes you want to have that. I think it's a discussion to have, and I think we can continue that discussion and see what can work. We can flip-flop that, and I think it's probably just a discussion we probably need to continue to have. I don't think there's a consensus right now to continue it. But I think we need to look at options of how we can best work our calendars out. It's not going to work for everyone. We know there's absences that occur. But I would feel like, Coburn, Mayor, it was your item, but right now I don't see a consensus to move forward.
Okay.
How about you?
No, I'm okay with doing that, and we'll continue to discuss it and see.
I do believe it was worth putting on the agenda right now, because the only time we can all get together is at a meeting and, you know, see it. But I would really like for us to all talk about it and think about how we can look at those dates and see if we can split them up. I think the 5:30 works good. I really do. I think I've heard good from staff. I've heard good from council. The 5:30 was a good move for everybody. Move the one that was really early a little bit later. Move the one that was later a little bit earlier. I think the 5:30 move was beneficial for everybody. But I don't know that all meetings on one day was totally beneficial. But now when we look at moving that time, maybe it's not all on one night. Say, hey, that's a good time to move it. But I don't think one day is a good day to change it. But I think we all need to look at the day of what we can do. Because it is right after a weekend, it does make an impact on staff.
Well, like I said, I've been up here, and I can't see where staff or Public Works, this committee, has missed all the many times. I mean, you know, we all want to go, we all take vacations. We all, you know, but on Public Works, it doesn't count against us. We can go against many times. It's not like council. But like I said, just with me, it just aligns up. Monday aligns up better with me. That's just my opinion. You know, I just got one opinion up here. That's just me.
I think all of us are committed to be here as much as we possibly can because the city's important.
The attendance is absolutely amazing, I think, given the number of calendars that are trying to work together. But I just thought maybe that was a way to kind of help continue to push it better.
Any other comments on item number 4? At this time, there'll be no action on item number 4. Roy, would I need to do anything else?
Nope.
Okay.
That's fine.
No action on item number 4. Now is the item recognizing citizens wishing to speak. We have one item, Rhonda Lee. On this item, it's not an agenda item, so you'll have 3 minutes to speak to the council, and unfortunately, we won't have time to speak back and won't have the opportunity to speak back, but I was able to speak to Rhonda this evening. If you would give us your name and address.
Rhonda Lee, 4421 West Broadway, Muskogee, Oklahoma.
Thank you.
Before she speaks, can we suspend the time and give her 5 minutes instead of 3, just in case she needs it?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Yeah.
Got a motion on the floor to suspend the time from 3 minutes to 5 minutes.
Second.
I have a second also. Roll call.
Deputy Mayor Janie Boydston,
Yes.
Patrick Kale.
Yes.
Marlon Coleman.
Yes.
Wayne Johnson.
Yes.
Ivory Van.
Yes.
Derek Reed.
Yes.
Dan Hall.
Yes.
Jamie Stout.
Yes.
Mayor Coburn.
Yes.
It passes. Ms. Lee, you'll have 5 minutes.
Thank you. I'm here to discuss some concerns on behalf of the seniors who use the Hat Box and the Kiwanis Senior Citizen Club for dancing, line dance lessons. Today, without notice, we were informed that we would be needing to move out of the Hat Box field and into the Teen Center until the latter part of April. We usually have a jamboree. I think it's scheduled around the 6th of April, so it's just kind of thrown us out of the apple cart. The other thing is, I think the Kiwanis Club is, we may be losing the Kiwanis Club as well, because they're saying that we might be moving to the old fire station downtown across from where Jasper's used to be. But the renovation apparently won't be done until 2020. So I think I come to speak on behalf of us that we just want a permanent structure. We would love to have the Civic Center considered. Not only would it be good for our socialization and health and purpose, but it could also be a place for intergenerational relationships with the young kids who sometimes join us for dance during the youth volunteer season. So the other thing I wanted to address is apparently some of the members of the club think that, or have heard that there's some money from the Egan Trust Company that was dedicated to the Kiwanis Senior Citizen Club, and we would like to have that considered as part of the upgrades that we need to keep centers open or new centers built. But the main thing is I think we just want to be heard. I read today on social media that seniors are being labeled as the unwanted generation. And I don't have to get into a spiel or write a song about this, but, you know, it's true. We want our voices to be heard. We want to stay active. We want to stay viable. And, you know, we contribute to the community. But it's important that we have something of security that we can call the Senior Citizen Club or the Senior Citizen Center that we can go to weekly or daily or whatever to get out of the house, to stay connected with other people, and stay healthy, really. So I would like for y'all to reconsider or consider the Civic Center if you have been thinking about it. We would love to be put on the agenda so that we could stay on top of this, and maybe more members could join us, and we could ask questions, and y'all could answer questions, and we'd have something to go by. So, thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Lee. That will conclude the Public Works Committee meeting for this evening. Thank you very much.